Good afternoon, friends. I'm Dr. Aajay Shah, and this is our another Facebook Live. Today, we actually are very excited because we have figured out how we can show the slides of my talk. And this is, in my opinion, one of the best since we started our Facebook live sessions. Matter of fact, this could be one of the best of our lifestyle movement because now I can uh, I can give lectures on webinars on Facebook and show my slides. And I take a lot of efforts to make slides. And until now, it was kind of a boring, monotonous talk, just looking at, my face on the screen. Now you guys can actually look at the screen. So, I'm very excited. Obviously, this is all learning, and I think we're all growing together. We're all kind of locked down in this COVID-19. Um, we're all kind of locked down in COVID-19, but we're all growing. I think I keep repeating myself on this Facebook Live that obstacles are actually the way to growth, and struggles can be seed to the new learning and new growth. And I've taken advantage of this, downtime, this free time in terms of learning new computer skills, reading more books, learning how to do video calls with the patients, and exercising more, sleeping 20 minutes more compared to last year. So I kind of turned this corona crisis, into a growing opportunity. And I hope you all are doing it. I hope you all feel that any crisis should be a seed to a new growth. Actually, I read somewhere that use the stress as an energy bar, just like we eat protein bar and energy bar. Use the stress as an energy bar and let the stress give you more stimulation. Stress give you more stimulation to grow more, learn more, and be healthier and be happier. So, again, I'm very excited to do this Facebook Live with slides on screen. I hope you're able to see the slides. Uh, you can actually write your comments if there are any issues with this Facebook Live, so we can fix it next time. Again, like we're all learning. I'm not a computer savvy computer person, but I'm gradually learning more and more as I go. And today I like to thank and appreciate Hannah, our social media person, our creative artist, our graphic designer, our video person, essentially one person for all the good things you see on our lifestyle movement. So thank you, Hannah. And let's dive into our today's topic. Today's topic is going to be a long topic because today's topic is going to be a long topic because it covers essentially everything one needs to know about a healthy lifestyle. So the topic is the key to a long, healthy, and happy life. Um, um, Again, to start with our presentation, some disclaimer that this seminar is essentially an education purpose only. It does not replace any kind of medical care and medical advice your doctor will provide you. So again, if you have any symptoms, if you change your lifestyle, and if anything changes, make sure you stay in contact with your physician. Again, I don't have any conflict of interest. I'm doing this thing just as a education benefit to all my friends, my family, my followers, my patients. I don't have any financial interest or gain by giving this seminar. And again, sometimes this seminar will be available at a low cost in the future, and all that thing will go back to our movement. First of all, a lot of thank you. Again, I already thank Hannah for giving us all the technical support, all graphical support, or video editing, all taking pictures, typing up some of my seminars, even helping me to write a book. So first thank you is thanks to Hannah. Second thank you is to my wife, Aajay Shah. She has been with me for last 35 years and has been supportive all along. Obviously, she's part of this movement. Matter of fact, she's a big part of this movement because healthy lifestyle requires healthy eating, and she has been a tremendous cook, and now actually a very healthy cook. Matter of fact, yesterday we talked about her on an interview with Chef Aajay, that how Jayshree, my wife, has turned most of our Indian recipes into a most healthy recipe one can make. And one day she will be live along with me to show some of the healthy Indian recipes and many other recipes. Next thing is Big thank you to all my healthy lifestyle mentors, including Joe Furman, Michael Greger, Lynn Ornish. Many of them I've met in person, all great giants, I call it, great giants. Uh, I'm sure I'm forgetting a few names, but I read about them, I listen to them on YouTube, I meet them in person, I follow them, and I try to emulate, what they do every day. Obviously, they are 100% dedicated in lifestyle movement, and I'm still trying to be 100% dedicated to lifestyle movement. Right now, a lot of my time goes towards cardiology, but one day I think I'll be spending more and more time with lifestyle movement. I also obviously like to thank mostly to all my beloved patients and my followers and my friends and my family, because by teaching them, actually I'm learning myself so much more. I think knowing what they go through, trying to help them to fix what issues they have, actually has been the biggest teacher for me in terms of learning this lifestyle movement. So big thank you to all my beloved patients, my friends, my family, and everybody in the community who constantly teach me how to be a better teacher. So again, thank you. Thanks to everybody. So who am I? Most of you know me because most of you have been following me on my Facebook. I'm a board certified cardiologist for the last 25 years. I'm also a lifestyle physician for the last 2.5 years. My philosophy always was preventative philosophy, but now my philosophy has turned into more of a healthy lifestyle preventative philosophy. I've been a lifelong vegetarian. Lately, I've been a vegan. We rarely have uh, milk-based product, but mostly I'm a vegan now. I have my own personal health journey, which we'll talk at the end of this talk. And I started this Healthy Living with Aajay Shah LLC Facebook page 4 months ago. I've been also trying to be a life coach. I've been reading more about how to handle what we go through in life, not just as a physical health, but now also mental health, including happiness, depression. I'm coming out with another mega lecture actually next weekend on happiness. So please tune in. That will be another great lecture, happiness. I recently gave a talk on stoicism. It's already on our YouTube channel, Healthy Living with Dr. Aajay Shah YouTube channel. So listen to that stoic philosophy YouTube video, stoicism video, and I assure you that will teach you a lot of the good ways of living very happy, healthy, productive, successful life. So again, I've been trying to also be a life coach. Uh, so where do we stand? When we talk about living long, we have to know where we are. So average longevity in America is 78 years for male. And for female, it's about 80 years. And we are not number one. Obviously, we are the most powerful nation in the world, and we spend most on healthcare compared to any other country. But we are not number one in longevity. Actually, highest longevity in the world is Monaco, very small country. It's about 89.4 years. So that's 90 years almost. The second highest is in Japan, 85.6 years. Japan being a big country, I still get impressed how healthy they stay. They work hard, they work long hours, but because of their healthy lifestyle, they live long. As I understand, they also have a nationalized healthcare. So Japan can be easily emulated by some of the Western countries, particularly for America, because Japanese people live 6 years longer than we live. In America, Hawaii has the highest longevity. It's about 81, and lowest is in the Mississippi, 74. So just like think of it that even within America, there are pockets where people live less than 75 years. Mississippi, we call them stroke belt, where unfortunately a lot of poverty is there, a lot of lack of education there, a lot of obesity there, a lot of southern food there, and the longevity is the lowest in America is Mississippi. America actually is ranked 43rd in longevity, 43rd in longevity. So we are way behind compared to where we should be. So we will, as a lifestyle physician, and we have a group of physicians now in the country, and our goal is to turn America hopefully in top 10 in longevity over the next 10 to 15 years. Because we have realized that traditional medicine which we've been practicing for the last 50 years has not made any dent into longevity. Matter of fact, longevity for the last 3 years has gone down by a few months every year. We'll talk about that also. So again, longevity we are ranked 43rd in the world. So what is the reason Americans die in America? Heart disease is still #1 killer for last 100 years. Heart disease has remained 100 years. One would think that we would have learned the lessons that if it's been killing us for last 100 years, let's do something so we can eliminate that as a killer. But unfortunately, because of our behavior, we have not taken heart disease as #1 killer. Cancer is #1. Cancer is growing actually. And in Canada, matter of fact, cancer has replaced heart disease as #1 killer. 12% of Americans have diabetes. So that's another kind of grim statistic. It used to be less than 5% just 30 years ago. So we are double the rate of diabetes in America in the last 30 years. So 12%. And 12% is an average. If you look at African Americans, it's almost 15%, 16%. If you look at Hispanics, it's almost 15% also. Same with type 2 diabetes is becoming more and more common in adolescent people and young kids because of obesity. We never saw type 2 diabetes in below age 15. Now we are seeing more and more type 2 diabetes below age 15. 50% of Americans have high blood pressure, which is another grim statistic. That means 1 in 2 Americans have high blood pressure. That's millions of people with high blood pressure. We'll talk about that also. 38% of Americans are obese, and that's a body mass index above 30. So body mass index about 30. Body mass index is the one which you can calculate by going on an online calculator. And you all should know your BMI. BMI is probably the best parameter we have right now to assess how you're going to do health-wise. BMI is not the perfect parameter because you can have a slightly high BMI and still have a normal body fat. So we'll talk about body fat percent as we go in this lecture. But for now, calculate your BMI. And if your BMI is about 30, you definitely would be in a category of obese. We also should talk about BMI about 25. BMI about 25 is overweight. So in America, about 80% of people are BMI about 25. So almost 80%. In my opinion, and Dr. Furman, I learned from Dr. Furman's lectures that BMI of 22 actually is the ideal BMI. People who live long, like Okinawan people, many of the people who have lived long, their BMI always has been around 22. So if you take BMI of 22, actually almost 85 to 90% of Americans have BMI about 22. And the ironic part is that the remaining 10% whose BMI is 22 or below, 8 to 9% BMI of 22 is because either they smoke or they have cancer or they're depressed or they have some other mental condition. So only about 1 to 2% of Americans whose BMI is below 22 are healthy. So let me repeat, only 1 to 2%, only 1 to 2% of Americans with BMI below 22 are healthy 22 BMI. And most chronic disease in America are due to our own lifestyle. And those chronic disease obviously are heart disease, cancer, diabetes, obesity, arthritis, many other chronic disease, so lung disease, and that's all because of our lifestyle. So where do we stand? When we talked about longevity, we talked about physical health. Now let's talk about mental health, because my goal now is to not just make person live long and live healthy, but also live happy, because without happiness, there is no health. And without health, there is no happiness. So where do we stand with mental health in America? America ranks 3rd in terms of mental health disorder. 46% of Americans are at risk of developing some form of mental disorder, including depression, anxiety, panic disorder, psychosis. West Virginia has the highest percent of mental illness. 5.3% of male suffer from depression. 8.7% of females suffer from depression. And 18% have anxiety. 18% have anxiety. And they said that almost 25 to 30% of Americans will experience an episode of anxiety within 3 months. So anxiety has been a major issue. Many times anxiety can be a very disabling condition for some people. psychosis, which is very, very grim mental disorder in a very poor prognosis, is about 0.4%. And suicide rate in America is about 13 per 100,000. Matter of fact, the reason the lifespan, the longevity has gone down for the last 3 years, one of the reasons is the young age suicide. Other reasons are opioid crisis, we will talk about it. So again, mental health is also not very good in America. And again, next Saturday, I'll be giving a lecture on happiness. Please tune in. That lecture actually will go through how we can prevent some of the mental disorders, including depression, anxiety, and many other conditions. Let's talk about healthcare economics, because at the end of the day, to stay healthy, to stay happy, it's all going to boil down to what we can afford, what we can afford. So how does healthcare economics works in America? America has a fee-for-service model. That means when I see a patient, I get paid. If I do something to the patient, a procedure, I get paid. If a hospital admits a patient, hospital gets paid. If a physical therapist does any physical therapy, that person gets paid. So it's a fee-for-service model. It's not a capitated model. It's not a model where all enrollees pay fees to the providers, regardless whether they see them or not. In my opinion, there are some bad things about that model. There are some good things about that model. We'll talk about it. Most developed countries in Western countries, and even some of the Eastern countries, including some of the Arabic countries and Canada, Western country, and Germany have nationalized healthcare. And UK obviously has national healthcare also. And there are some benefits to having national healthcare. We'll talk about it. America actually, USA ranks #1 in healthcare spending. #1, almost 5 times more than many other countries, and almost 100 times more than some of the developing poor nations. Average per person spending in America is about $4,500. Most procedures and medications in America cost actually 5 times more than the many other countries. So definitely very expensive to get healthcare in America. America actually spends highest on healthcare. As I understand, about 15 or 17% of our GDP goes in healthcare. And despite of that, so that's trillions of dollars. And despite of that, we have ranked 43rd in terms of longevity. So that to me is almost like doesn't make sense. We spend so much more money, but we are still 43rd in terms of longevity. And I think partly, obviously, it's our own fault as a consumer. Partly it's our health system's fault. Partly it's our cultural, partly, what we eat, and we need to change that. And hopefully a lifestyle movement, which I'm trying to, promote, and many of my colleagues in lifestyle world also hopefully will change that statistics. And hopefully, like I said, we'll be in top 10 in terms of longevity in next 10 to 20 years. So again, we have a responsibility, we have a call as a nation and as individually, how to change, how to be living longer, how to be living healthier, how to live happier. And that's where I sincerely believe the best way to achieve those goals, live long, live happy, live healthy, is a healthy lifestyle changes. So what is a healthy lifestyle change? Healthy lifestyle change has 6 pillars. This has been given by our College of Lifestyle Medicine. Matter of fact, one of our close friends from Tampa, Florida, Dr. Kaushik Reddy, was just telling us that we might be possibly adding a 7th pillar. We'll talk about that also. So what are the 6 pillars? Number 1, the most important pillar is nutrition, what we eat. 2nd pillar is exercise. 3rd pillar is sleep. 4th pillar is stress management. 5th pillar is substance abuse. And 6th pillar is relationship. All the pillars are important. Nutrition, or what we eat, is the most important pillar, but all the pillars are important. All the pillars are required to be living healthy, long, and happy. And one important thing, not only these pillars, they actually help each other, but when they work together, the benefits and the effects of each pillar on each other is exponential. So when you add any pillars to the nutrition, your benefits of nutrition exponentially rises. So I strongly advise to follow all the 6 pillars. Obviously, you cannot do everything overnight. You have to gradually add more things, but at the same time, all 6 pillars are required. And I'll tell you what I do every day. I try to follow all the 6 pillars as much as I can. So let's start with the most important pillar. The most important pillar is the nutrition, what we eat. Standard American diet, we call it SAD, SAD, and truly it's a SAD diet. Standard American diet has a 65% processed food, 25% animal products, and 10% is plant-based food. So again, 65% processed food, which we will talk about it. Most meal in America actually contain a food source that is animal-based. So many of my patients, many of my friends, many of our followers, actually every day, all 3 meals or more meals they have in a day have some kind of animal products. They can have a milk in the morning or a strip bacon in the morning. They may have a chicken sandwich for a lunch. They may have a fish or a burger for the dinner. So every meal has some animal product, which we will talk about. It needs to change. In terms of the plant-based food, which in my opinion is the most healthy food, the top 2 plant-based product in America is kind of funny in a way, but it's French fries and ketchup. So again, top 2 plant-based food, French fries and ketchup, both very unhealthy. French fries, obviously, with simple carb, fried with salt and lots of calories. And ketchup, obviously, lots of sugar and very unhealthy food. So again, all our plant-based food mostly is French fries and ketchup. 60% of children and 50% of adults have some kind of sugary beverage every day, whether it's a soft drink like Coke or Pepsi or Diet Coke, and obviously Diet Coke doesn't have any sugar. And many of young kids drink juice. We used to think 15, 20 years ago that juice are very healthy. Everybody was an orange juice. I remember coming to America 35 years ago, and we always bought orange juice to keep in our refrigerator. We know now that orange juice actually is almost as bad as drinking Coke. So if any of you listener are drinking orange juice, stop drinking orange juice. The best beverage you can have is the water. Americans eat a lot of salt also, average about 8.8 grams of salt. We'll talk about salt as we go. And 30% of Americans have at least one alcoholic drink per day. Again, nutrition, what we eat, is the most important pillar. Most chronic disease are a result of what we eat and what we drink every day. So what is the solution? The solution, in my opinion, is to go whole food, plant-based diet. So again, nutrition is the most important pillar. The best way to eat healthy is a whole food, plant-based diet. And again, you don't have to go vegan, even though in my opinion, American vegans are the healthiest vegans, but you don't have to go vegan. You can just lower calories from your animal products. So again, my sincere recommendation is to try to have only 10% of your calories from animal products, only 10%. Most of Blue Zone, which we'll talk about also, where people live long, live healthy, live happy, their calories, 10% come from animal products. So animal products are not absolutely prohibited, not absolutely bad, even though I'm myself a vegan, but you should restrict your animal product calorie no more than 10%. If you go vegan, that's ideal, that's probably best. But minimum thing you can do is cut the calories from animal products as low as you can. Your daily calories should be adequate to maintain BMI of 25 and even possibly 22. So if your BMI is about 25, cut the calories every day. 500 calorie deficit, we will talk about it, to lose weight. Once you get down to BMI of 25, then you can maintain it by eating adequate calories. And if you want to get your BMI to 22, even continue cutting calories to 500 per day to get the BMI to 22. Like I said, water should be a beverage of choice. In Canada, now the water is the beverage of choice in their food plate. And water is the beverage of choice in the food plate. So what is whole food plant-based diet? Whole food plant-based diet actually has vegetables, about a pound of raw vegetables and a pound of cooked vegetables every day. And those vegetables include cruciferous vegetables, which is broccoli, kale, lettuce, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and bok choy, many other cruciferous vegetables. It also includes allium family vegetables like onion and garlic. And it should also include beans and lentils. Like again, Blue Zone people, I keep repeating that word Blue Zone, we'll talk about it, but people live long and healthy. Their staple every day is bean or lentil. You should also have fruits, 4 servings per day. You should also have a uh, you should also have a flax seeds or chia seeds every day. Uh, you can also have nuts. If you're trying to lose weight, avoid nuts and just have flax seeds and chia seeds. But if you are at a BMI 24 or below, you should include about an ounce of walnuts or almonds. There's also some data that if you take 1 or 2 Brazil nuts per month, you can also lower your cholesterol. So have some nuts if your weight is good. If you're trying to lose weight, maybe possibly avoiding nuts is a fair call. Just have flax seeds or chia seeds. And in my opinion, processed food should be less than 5%. 0% is ideal for processed food, but less than 5% is a fair call. So what are the benefits of whole food plant-based diet? Tremendous benefits. Number one benefit, all plant-based food have ingredient which animal products don't have, and that's a fiber. Again, milk doesn't have fiber, red meat doesn't have fiber, chicken doesn't have fiber, fish doesn't have fiber. Animal products have zero fiber. When I ask some of my American friends and patients that, what do you think of, chicken with fiber? Many of them think the chicken has fiber, but no animal product has any fiber. Fiber only comes from plant-based diet, plant-based food. So why do we need a fiber? Fiber has a significant role in satiety. When you eat food with fiber, you feel full, and obviously you eat less and you stop eating when you feel full. Fiber prevents prediabetes, diabetes. Uh, Fiber actually also prevents constipation. Fiber prevents diverticulosis. Fiber even has some role in colon cancer prevention. Fiber can also lower your cholesterol. Fiber can also lower estrogen levels. And fiber actually now has proven to increase the longevity. So fiber is one of the most important ingredient, and you get fiber only from plant-based food. Plant-based food also has phytochemicals, which you don't get it from animal product. Plant-based food also has antioxidant. Plant-based food is low in saturated fat. Plant-based food typically is very high in water content, and obviously water without any calories make you feel full, so that way you eat less. So again, most of the plant-based food, particularly if you eat vegetables and raw vegetables, it has a very high water content. And typically plant-based food, when you eat raw, or when you eat with cooked in water-based cooking, they are very low in calorie density. Obviously, if you use any vegetable oil, cooked plant-based food, it will go into calorie density. But if you cook the plant-based food without any oil, it will be low in calorie density. And calorie density is a very important thing to know, because if you eat lots of food with low calorie density, you will not have that much calorie. Versus if you eat even a small amount of food with high calorie density, you will have lots of calories. So knowing calorie density is very important. To give you an example, like most green vegetables, if you eat raw, has calorie density almost no more than 100 to 150 calories per pound. So again, very low calorie density. If you look at the oil, almost 4,000 calorie per pound. Same with meat, about 2,000 calorie per pound. So, those things are very high in calorie density. Um, let's talk about what we eat. And that goes into types of nutrients. So when we talk about nutrients, there are macronutrients, and macronutrients, everybody knows, is the carbohydrate, protein, and fat. Carbohydrate, protein, and fat. And in my opinion, when we talk about macronutrient, the daily calorie breakdown should be 70% carb, 20% fat, and 10% protein. Again, 70% carb, 20% fat, and 10% protein. Uh, Lately, there's a big push going on for keto diet, which is low in carb and sometimes ultra low in carb. In my opinion, that's wrong. Keto actually is going to kill more people than anything ever invented. Keto actually is going to kill more people than atomic bomb did. So again, keto is a bad diet. We'll talk about keto as we go, but don't go on keto diet. Keto will kill you. Keto will kill you very fast. Most people who live long, their typical breakdown that they have a lot of carbohydrate. Okinawan people in Japan who live very long, many of you have heard about Okinawan people, their carb is almost 80%. Sweet potato is their main carb in their food. Obviously, when we talk about carb, the carb you should be eating is whole food plant-based, complex carb, not white bread, not white rice, not sugar, not donut. Those are simple carb, and those should be avoided. So when I talk about 70% carb calories in your diet, I'm talking about complex carb. I'm talking about whole food plant-based diet. I understand how keto diet was uh, was designed, was pushed because everybody wanted to go on a low carb diet. But again, carb is not your enemy. It's the simple carb. It's a white sugar. It's a bread, white rice is your enemy. Carb actually is one of your most friendly food as long as you eat the complex food, complex carbohydrate. Um, Other thing is the micronutrients. Those are phytochemicals and antioxidants. Third thing is vitamins. Fourth thing is mineral. And fifth thing, water. Water is also considered a nutrient because you need water, even though water doesn't have any calories. Um, so let's talk about macronutrient carbohydrate. There are simple carbohydrates, like we talked about. It's sugar, white bread, and white rice. And there are complex carbohydrates like brown rice, whole wheat bread, quinoa, oatmeal, vegetables, and other fruits. Typically, complex carbohydrates have a large amount of fiber. Uh, we need to also talk about glycemic index. So glycemic index is a concept where how quickly the carbohydrate food releases the sugar or the glucose in your bloodstream. So when you eat food, if your sugar spikes and that leads to insulin spike, that's what glycemic index tells you. So certain food, for example, white bread, if you take sugar itself, the glucose itself, baked potatoes, watermelon, those typically have high glycemic. And low glycemic food typically are beans, apples, fruits, peanuts. Those typically are low glycemic food. So try to eat the food with low glycemic index. If you eat whole food plant-based diet, typically you will have a low glycemic food. Glycemic load is also an important concept because you can have a high glycemic food, but if you eat small amount, then you will be okay in terms of total glycemic load. So for example, eating watermelon for a diabetic is okay, even though you have a high glycemic index, because it has a low glycemic load. Next macronutrient is a fat. Obviously, last 40 years, we've been becoming quote unquote against the fat, but it's the saturated fat I'm against, we are against it. It's not the total fat. There are three types of fat. You can have a polysaturated fat, monosaturated fat, or saturated. Poly and monosaturated fat or the saturated fat itself. Saturated fat is the one which is detrimental to health, can cause heart attacks, strokes, many other conditions. So avoid saturated fat as much as possible. Having poly and monosaturated fat in diet is very important, very beneficial. It's must. Also, we talk about essential fatty acids, and those are omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-6 fatty acid typically comes from vegetable oils, and typically they are detrimental to health. So again, omega-6 and omega-3 both are necessary, but less of the omega-6 is better. You need some omega-6, but you don't need too much omega-6. Matter of fact, now we know that omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is very important. Omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is very important. And the ratio should be ideally 3 to 1, up to 5 to 1 is okay. But in America, most Americans have omega-6 to omega-3 ratio 12, 15, sometimes even 20 to 1. And that's the reason many of these chronic inflammatory disorders, chronic inflammation happen. So again, try to lower your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. And best way to do is avoid any vegetable oil. Actually, matter of fact, avoid any oil. And try to increase your omega-3 by having walnuts or flax seeds or chia seeds or any kind of nuts. And if you are able to take fish oil, taking a fish oil. There are some recommendations going back and forth in terms of omega-3. I think, in my opinion, everybody should be taking some omega-3 every day as a supplement to improve your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. Let's talk about oil, because Indian cooking has a lot of oil. In my opinion, zero oil is ideal. You don't need oil. You can do a lot of cooking without oil. Definitely vegetable oil is definitely very unfavorable omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, and that should be avoided. If you can have extra virgin oil, canola oil, or avocado oil, that's probably fair. So if you want to use any oil, use extra virgin oil, canola oil, or avocado oil. Avocado oil has a high burning point, so you can cook with avocado oil. In my opinion, zero oil is ideal. Let's talk about the nutrient which has been kind of considered the most important nutrient, which in my opinion is the least important nutrient, and that's protein. Actually, name protein comes from the Greek, where it says, from Latin, where it says it's the most important nutrient, and that's how the name protein had come. But we have now realized that protein probably is the least important nutrient. To many of our followers, many of the listeners today, many of the people I give lecture to, they always get surprised when I say the protein is the least important nutrient. And like I said earlier, protein should be less than 10% of your calories. Protein should be less than 10% of your calories. Matter of fact, now we have data that people who eat high protein diet live less. People who eat high protein diet live less. So if you have in your mind that I need a protein diet, get that idea out of your mind. You don't need protein diet. Protein will come from every natural food for the proper ratio it should be. Most natural foods, whole food plant-based diet, have ratio of protein anywhere from 1 to 5% to 10 to 15 to 20%. And nature is actually smarter than all of us. Nature knows what is good for all the animals, for all the living creatures, for humans. Nature has created a perfect protein ratio, what should be in our diet. Average need for an American male, the need for protein is about 60 grams. For female, is about 50 grams. Most Americans get actually 2 to 3 times more protein than what is recommended. Like I said, again, high protein diet will have a long-term consequences, and it will kill you. Lately, people are talking about branched chain amino acids, BCAA, and a lot of protein powder include those BCAA. A lot of bodybuilders, a lot of athletes take a lot of BCAA. In my opinion, that's going to be another effect, just like what keto diet does to people. We don't need branched chain amino acids. Matter of fact, we know now the branched chain amino acids can be actually detrimental to health because it stimulates the mTOR pathway. So again, you don't need protein more than 10% of your calories, in my opinion. Obviously, protein can be plant-based or animal-based protein or plant-based protein. In my opinion, all protein should be plant-based. If you have a small amount from animal-based, like milk, I can understand. But most people in America, their protein comes from animal protein. So why is animal protein bad? Let's talk about that. So side effects of animal-based products or animal-based protein. Animal protein actually raises IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, which is essentially like a hormone which actually promotes a lot of growth, and it can cause a lot of cancer. So animal protein actually raises IGF-1, which can cause cancer. Eggs actually also has shown to cause diabetes. Processed meat like bacon, hot dogs, and salami and ham are actually class 1 carcinogen. So again, processed meat like bacon, which many people eat every day, has been a class 1 carcinogen. That means it's as bad as smoking. So a lot of people said that, well, I don't smoke, but at the same time, they eat bacon every day. And they are actually in as much of a trouble as if they had smoked. Red meat itself, like steak, is also a class 2 carcinogen. Most animal products not just contain protein, but also contain high amount of saturated fat and cholesterol, which obviously can cause heart disease, heart attack, stroke, peripheral artery disease. Animal-based products also contain choline, which can also cause the TMAO, which can lead to inflammation and heart disease. Animal-based products also contain heme iron, which can also cause heart disease. There is also some new data that dairy can cause breast cancer. So women should be careful. Having a daily yogurt, in my opinion, can increase the risk of your breast cancer. Many of the animal-based products, including cheese, has a lot of salt, a lot of saturated fat. It's very calorie dense. Cheese actually, any milk-based products also contain estrogens. And obviously, like we talked about it, all animal products has no fiber. So animal products should be lowered as much as possible in your diet. And I definitely recommend less than 10% calories of your diet from animal products. Ideally, zero animal products is the best way. Animal-based products also cause advanced N-glycation products, advanced N-glycation products. Those products are essentially the combination of a sugar and amino acids, sugar and amino acids. And those products, advanced N-glycation products, has now shown to cause heart disease, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, skin wrinkles, and it also has caused reduced longevity. Animal-based products also are detrimental to patients with kidney disease. Animal-based products also have high levels of fibroblast growth factor, which can also cause heart disease. So again, there are tremendous amount of issues with animal-based products. Should be avoided as much as possible. Definitely no more than 10% of your calories from animal-based products. Zero would be ideal. So going vegan would be ideal. Let's talk about salt in our diet. Americans, like I said, eat about 7 to 9 grams of salt every day. It should not be more than 2.5 grams per day. If you're looking at the labels, you should be looking at sodium, and you should not be eating 1,500 milligrams of sodium or more. 1,500 is the limit for sodium. And general rule of thumb is that if you have any packaged food, whatever the sodium is, if that number is more than the amount of calories for that food, you should be putting that food down. So for example, if you pick up a bag of whatever food, chips maybe, and it has a 200 calories, but if it has a 200 milligrams of sodium, you should not be eating that food because it has tons of more sodium. Same with sugar. We should be eating maximum 30 grams of sugar. Most Americans eat a lot more sugar than that. Now, so what are the supplements I recommend? I recommend vitamin B12 for all vegans and vegetarians. I definitely recommend B12 to almost all Americans. Typically, we have very low B12 levels. So B12 should be for everybody. I take B12 every day. You can take actually B12 once a week, a sublingual or under the tongue product, which you can get it on Amazon. Everybody should be on vitamin D, particularly people who live with a low sunlight. I take vitamin D every day. You can take vitamin D weekly, 10,000 units also. If you're eating a very low or zero salt diet like I do, you may need an iodine. Talk to your primary care physician so whether you should need iodine or not. And if you are not eating very healthy, taking a multivitamin tablet is a fair call. It's not necessary if you have a healthy diet. There's another concept which has been also very popular is the intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting has been around for thousands of years. As you know and as you recall, 500 years ago, we did not have all this electricity and light available, and most people stopped eating when the sundown happened, and they did not eat in the morning until about 7 or 8 o'clock. So they all ate 12 hours a day. Intermittent fasting is the one when you create a non-eating window, 12 hours or more. Ideally, 16-hour window is the best for intermittent fasting. And intermittent fasting actually has shown benefits in terms of weight loss, better sleep, reduce inflammation, lower the cholesterol, reduce the blood pressure, reduce cancer rate, better brain function, increase longevity. So intermittent fasting, in my opinion, is must for most people who want to live long and healthy. I try to do at least 14 hours of intermittent fasting. 16 is ideal. Ideally, we should have a heavy breakfast and very light dinner or no dinner. Definitely no eating after 5 o'clock if you can, 5 or 6 o'clock if you can. So ideally, it should be heavy breakfast and very light dinner. Nighttime eating actually has shown to cause many issues, including Alzheimer's disease and type 2 diabetes. So avoid nighttime eating definitely after 8 p.m. as much as possible. A 24-hour water fast also has shown some benefits. Matter of fact, there was a Nobel Prize a few years ago on fasting in terms of longevity. So again, 24-hour fast once a week, once a month, a few times a year is also recommended. And as you know, most cultures, most religious practices recommend some kind of fasting on a periodic basis. There are some other general nutrition guidelines, like eat until you feel about 80% full. Don't stuff yourself to 120% of your stomach. Eat about 80% full. That's what Okinawan people do in Japan, and they live long and healthy. If possible, walk for 15 to 30 minutes, not heavy exercise, just simple strolling walk, 15 to 30 minutes after each meal. That will prevent the insulin spike and sugar spikes. Eat at a slow rate and chew food longer. When you eat at a slow rate, your brain gets a signal that you are full and you will stop eating. So again, take your time to eat, make a meal, an activity, 20, 30, 40 minutes, and eat very slowly and chew the food longer. Well, again, important concept, that exercise cannot overcome unhealthy eating. So many people think that if they had a donut in the morning, they will exercise in the evening. For one donut, 400 calories, you will need to walk for 2 hours. And you're not going to walk 2 hours. You're going to walk 30 minutes, which is going to burn about 100 calories, and you already had a donut of 400 calories. So again, you cannot think that by exercising, you will overcome unhealthy eating. You should definitely know your caloric expenditure and try to eat calorie accordingly. Always look for a healthy substitute, because fortunately now every food has a healthy substitute. For example, at our home, for pasta, we have replaced the wheat pasta with chickpea pasta, with lentil pasta. And those pasta actually taste as good as a wheat pasta, much healthier, higher plant protein, and in my opinion, probably the best thing happened. At our house, we have only lentil and chickpea pasta now. Learn to read nutrition labels, very important, because that way you will know how many calories, how much sodium, how much sugar, how much fiber you have. Develop a taste for healthy food, because I think, to me, your taste bud will change in 3 to 4 weeks once you take the healthy food, eating healthy food, and eventually you will actually not only like healthy food, but you will not even miss some of the unhealthy food. But it takes few weeks to change your taste buds. And one of the important things which we fortunately are doing it for last 2 months is the eating at least 18 meals at home. So out of 21 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner per week, at least have 18 meals homemade food. Homemade food. You cook with the family or cook yourself and eat at home. Obviously, avoid any temptation going to fast food restaurant. Fast food is going to kill a lot more people again than anything ever invented. Eat food with a low caloric density, like we talked about it earlier. Try to eat more vegetables, more fruits, which has a caloric density anywhere from 100 to 500 calories per pound. And again, let me repeat the macronutrient ratio: 70% carb, all complex carb, obviously, from whole food plant-based diet, 20% fat, and 10% protein. We truly don't need that much protein. Again, because people talk about that, I want to lose weight. So there are a variety of ways of losing weight. We can lose weight by smoking. Smokers are typically lean and thin. You can lose weight by chemotherapy. You can lose by going on meth. You can lose weight by going on a low carb keto Atkins type diet. You can lose weight by starvation. If you get depressed, you lose weight. But that's not the healthy way of losing weight. Like Dr. Michael Greger clearly says, that goal is not to fit into a smaller coffin, but to live a long, healthy life. Because if you lose weight, or if you're going to die early, what was worth losing the weight? So weight loss goal should be to be healthier, not be lean. I'm not asking all of you to lose weight in any other reason, but to be healthy. Like I said, there are a variety of ways of losing weight, but you should be losing weight the most healthy way. We talked about keto diet. Keto diet is going to kill more people than atomic bomb. Keto diet is very high in saturated fat and low in carbohydrate. Short-term weight loss is possible. A lot of people on keto will lose weight, a significant amount of weight in 1 month, 2 months, but that weight will always come back. It's not very healthy way to lose weight. Keto diet will actually cause a lot of heart disease, a lot of heart attacks. I don't recommend keto diet. Most experts don't recommend keto diet. So what is the best way to lose weight? What is the best way to eat healthy? All of us, all humans actually love eating food. That's a basic pleasure we all have. So eating food is probably a required pleasure for all of us. So it's not that we're going to stop eating, but it's what we eat, how frequently we eat, and from where we eat. So when you go hungry, when you start fasting to lose weight, eventually hunger takes over, pleasure part takes over, and you start eating again. So fasting is not the solution to lose weight. We have to eat every day. We have to eat 3 meals every day. Obviously, create a non-eating window of 12 to 16 hours, but we have to eat every day. So what if we design a diet? What if I tell you a diet? What if I ask you to eat in a certain way, which will not be only healthy, but you will lose weight? And that diet is, I call it diet of abundance. It's kind of my own term, diet of abundance. I call it diet of abundance because you can eat as much as you like. You can eat as much as you like. You can actually stuff your stomach with this kind of diet. And that diet is whole food, plant-based, no sugar, no oil, no salt diet. You can eat as much as you like, so you will always have satiety, you will always have a pleasure. And if you eat this kind of diet, you will actually lose about 3 pounds per week if you are overweight or obese. Long term, this diet has a tremendous benefit, health-wise, happiness-wise, longevity-wise. So this diet is, in my opinion, is one of the most successful diet, and a lot of people follow that in the world. This diet actually will reverse many of the chronic disease, including diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease. So if you go on this diet, make sure you check your sugar, check your blood pressure, because it will start coming down and you may have to cut some of the medication. Like I said in the beginning, always stay in touch with your primary care physician. This diet also is very cost effective if you practice making the food at home. A lot of people say that the salad costs 3 times more than a burger at McDonald's. Obviously, McDonald's has a interest into selling more burgers, so they subsidize the food. Plus, our government, unfortunately, in my opinion, wrong way, subsidize the burger food, animal products, and that's the reason burger is much cheaper. But there is some data that when you eat that $1 burger right now, even though it's cheaper right now, on the long run, 25, 30 years down the road, you will actually end up spending $7 more on a healthcare. So a burger which costs you right now $1 will cost you $7, same burger, $7 after 25 years. So it's cheap right now, but you will pay the price, much larger price after 25 years. Same way, if you eat a salad at McDonald's right now, $5, on the long run, it will be beneficial. Obviously, if you eat salad at home, you can make a great salad at home for less than $2 or $3. So again, eating at home, plant-based food, the diet of abundance, eating at home is very cost effective. And it's very satisfying. You know, I sometimes joke with people that when you eat French fries, it gives you 4 tastes: potato, salt, oil, and sometimes sugar, or ketchup. So those have only 4 tastes. And if you eat a small amount of French fries, it will give you 400 calories. Versus if you take a salad and put 15 different items, raw items, on it, it will be 300 calories. So you can have 4 tastes, 400 calories, or 15 different tastes, 300 calories. Obviously, my tongue will absolutely enjoy having 15 different tastes and 300 calories versus only 4 tastes and 400 calories. So again, whole food plant-based diet is not only very healthy diet, but also it's very tasteful diet. So a lot of people say that salads are boring. Actually, in my opinion, salads are probably the most tasty food one can ever design. So let's see what are the 12 steps to ideal body weight. People ask me that I want to lose weight. How can I lose weight? So you can start with a whole food plant-based diet. You can exercise 1 hour daily. Just go for a walk, 1 hour every day. You have minimum dairy and animal products. Don't eat any oil, salt, or sugar. Meditate 20 minutes, because a lot of people have stressful eating behavior and habits. And if you lower your stress, obviously you will eat only when it's necessary. Sleep 7 to 8 hours. We'll talk about sleep. But sleep, actually, people who don't have adequate sleep also eat more next day. Eat 1 pound of raw and cooked vegetables every day. Track your weight daily. People who weigh every day typically have a higher chance of success in terms of losing weight. Eat within 8-hour window. So again, we talked about a 16-hour intermittent fasting. Drink lots of water, because many times when we are thirsty, we think we are hungry, we reach out for food, but we were just thirsty. So actually, drink 64 ounces of water every day. And there's another concept called preloading. So before you eat your main meal, preload, or eat before the main meal salad, fruit, or just drink a glass of water. If you preload your main meal with salad, fruit, or glass of water, you will actually eat less in your main meal, and you actually will have total less calorie per your meal, for your dinner, for your lunch. So again, always preload. And typically, I recommend 18 or 21 meals in a week to eat at home, homemade, home-cooked food. So again, this was a nutrition pillar. I got a lot of my understanding a lot of my knowledge from one of the great books called It to Live, one of the best book you can ever buy. It's by Dr. Joe Furman. $10 on Amazon. Get a used copy. Don't get a new one. That book is, in my opinion, one of the best books if you want to lose weight. And that book has a page 216. Remember, page 216. That page, in my opinion, is probably the best page in my life. That page has helped me. That page has helped many of my patients, many of our followers. Page 216 in It to Live book. So this was a long covering of most important pillar, nutrition, what we eat. Now let's go to next pillar, which is also very important pillar, and that's exercise. We call exercise, but we also call it physical activity, because if you vacuum your house, if you wash your windows, if you mow the yard, if you shovel the snow, those are all type of physical activity. So you don't have to go to gym. You don't have to exercise on a treadmill in the evening. You can be physically active throughout the day, and that's as good as exercise. So recommendation is 150 minutes per week, but I actually recommend about an hour a day. So it's almost 400 minutes per week. We should be able to spare an hour per day for our own benefit with exercise. Exercise is very important. It has shown that it increases longevity. It prevents diabetes, prevents pre-diabetes. It prevents many cancers. It prevents heart disease. It also prevents dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Many of these diseases also can be reversed with regular exercise. So what are the different type of exercise? Number one is the cardio. Everybody knows what cardio exercise means. Cardio exercise means you raise your heart rate above certain level, more than your baseline or basal heart rate. So I recommend at least minimum daily walking. If you can jogging or running is also recommended. If you cannot walk, do a stationary bike, or you can even do swimming or any kind of activity which increases your heart rate. In terms of the ideal way of doing cardio, try to raise your heart rate 85% of your maximum heart rate, at least 12 minutes per day. So for example, if you are 50-year-old, 220 minus 50, 220 is the magic number. 220 minus 50 for a 50-year-old, that's 170, and 85% of 170 is your target heart rate. And at that heart rate, you should be spending 12 minutes per day, 12 minutes per day. Then you will have a maximum benefit. Start slowly and build it up. Next, to give you what I do, these are my steps. I haven't put on the 2020 data on this one, but in 2018, I had 23,000 steps. That's almost about 11 miles of walking. In 2019, I had 18,000 steps. And for 2020, my average has been about 21,000 steps. That's almost 3.5 hour walking. I love walking. I walk every day. I actually walk and read. I highly recommend all of you walking. My physical activity for last 2.5, 3 years has been about 2 to 3 hours per day. Second important type of exercise is weight training. Weight training is as important as doing cardio. As we get older, we start to lose muscle mass. It's very important that we maintain muscle mass by doing weight training. You can do weight training either with free weights, or you can do with the body weight, which is called calisthenic, or you can use machine-based. Obviously, as we get older, some kind of machine-based weight training is more safer, and you can do it either at home or at a gym. Typically, I recommend joining a gym because there are a variety of options of weight-based training. For example, I go to a health club in our town called MAC. It has a big, large room with lots of weight-based, machine-based weight training. I absolutely love it. Very safe, very user-friendly, easy to do. Obviously, if we can do free weights, that's also beneficial. A lot of benefits, including maintaining muscle mass, gaining muscle mass. It prevents osteoporosis. I recommend 30 minutes of weight training, minimum 3 times per week. Next important type of physical activity exercise is flexibility training and yoga. It prevents fall, it prevents many injuries, it also lowers stress. So 20 minutes of stretching every day or 1 hour of yoga once a week is also important and beneficial. Other consideration is move every hour. We know now the sitting is new smoking. People who sit 8 hours on a computer, on a desk, like computer programmers and many other people actually have very higher rate of getting the chronic disease and also dying prematurely. So sitting obviously is not good for you. So move every hour. Even if you're a computer programmer, get up every half an hour and just make about a minute or two of walking. So walk 3 to 5 minutes every hour. Use some kind of device to track your exercise. I use Fitbit for last almost 2.5, 3.5 years. So use a Fitbit type device. Consider joining a health club. Now you can actually join a health club for less than $10 a month. In our town, a Planet Fitness is like within 5 miles, and it's $10 a month. Become a weekend warrior, because if you cannot work out during the weekdays because you have other responsibilities, including kids and some people have 2 jobs, at least work out on the weekend when you have more time. Consider buying a standing desk. For example, I have a standing desk at work, and standing is better than sitting. Also have a buddy when you do your workout, because having any kind of company, having any kind of person join your workout, you have a higher chance of continuing for long term. And if you need it, and if you can afford it, hire a personal trainer, or at least get a 1 or 2 session with a personal trainer, learn everything about physical activity and do it yourself. If you hire a regular personal trainer, you can get it probably anywhere between $15 to $30 an hour. If you join health club personal trainers are very expensive, but some of the personal trainers who do on a private base can be $15 to $30, which in my opinion is a tremendous, kind of a necessary perk you should have. Next pillar is sleep, very important, as important as exercise. Let's talk about sleep. 30% of Americans do not get 7 hours of sleep per night, 30%. So that's pretty high. A lot of people actually sleep less than 5 hours. Sleep was considered, for many years, the sleep is actually a waste of time. People who want to be successful should be, working long hours, working late nights, doing a lot of projects at night. That's not actually true. People who don't sleep many times are actually not only not successful, they fall through depression, they fall through many non-productive time spent, and actually sleep becomes very important. 4% of Americans take sleeping medicine. And we know now the sleeping medications actually makes you live less. Sleeping medicine has shown to cause higher mortality. So sleeping medicine is not the answer. And also you cannot overcome sleep debt by sleeping more on the weekends. People think that I will stay up late weekdays and catch up on my sleep on the weekend. The data clearly says that that's not healthy. So what are some of the side effects of inadequate sleep? Inadequate sleep obviously will lead to poor learning, poor attention, more accidents. It can also lead to diabetes and prediabetes. It is a higher death rate. It can also cause Alzheimer's disease and dementia. It can also cause heart attack and high blood pressure, and many other considered, even some cancers too. So again, lack of sleep is just not a healthy thing. So what can you do to improve sleep? This is my favorite topic. I highly recommend watching our YouTube video on improving sleep. It's only about 11 minutes long, and you're obviously listening right now. But if you want to refer to that YouTube video again and again to listen to those tricks to improve sleep, please go to our YouTube channel, Healthy Living with Dr. Shah, and you'll be able to watch that sleep video on YouTube. So what are the tricks to improve sleep? Maintain fixed sleep hours. If you go to sleep at 10 o'clock and wake up at 6, do that 7 days a week. Once in a while, if you have one day where you don't sleep on time, that's okay. But most days you should be sleeping same hours every night. 30 minutes of sunlight, preferably in the morning. Or if you cannot have enough sunlight, buy 10,000 lux light. Exercise 30 minutes every day, but definitely not after 7 o'clock. No coffee or caffeine after 2 p.m. If you're very caffeine sensitive, no coffee after the morning coffee. If you can avoid coffee completely, that would be great. Definitely no alcohol after 7 p.m. Alcohol can put you to sleep, but that would be a very poor quality sleep. Taking a hot shower before sleep will lower your core temperature and will put you to sleep quicker and will maintain a deep sleep. Minimum clothing at night, because minimum clothing will lower your core body temperature, will give you better sleep. No blue light after 6 p.m. Blue light typically comes from phones, TV, iPads, computers, and all those blue light actually can disturb your sleep, and avoid blue light as much as possible. If needed, you can install a blue light blocker, and that will also improve your sleep. Next thing is definitely dim your lights in your house after 7 p.m. If you cannot sleep after half an hour in bed, get up and meditate or read a nice, simple book. Definitely no TV in bedroom or no TV watching after 7 or 8 p.m. if you can avoid it. Keep your bedroom dark and noise free. Meditate 15 to 30 minutes before sleep. Definitely, if you're a partner, if you're married, have sex before sleep. Comfortable mattress and pillow is also definitely going to improve your sleep. Decrease your water intake before sleep so you don't have to wake up at night to urinate. Track your sleep. Tracking sleep is very important because until you know how your sleep is, how can you improve it? So I track my sleep with Fitbit device. I'll show you some data. But again, tracking your sleep is very important. Fitbit device actually gives you REM sleep, deep sleep, light sleep. So tracking your sleep is very important. This is my sleep data for 2018, 2019, now also 2020. In 18, I slept 6 hours, 40 minutes, slept. So my time in bed actually was almost an hour longer. So I was in bed about 7.5 to 8 hours. Even though I commute 2 hours every day, I work full time. Obviously I have a family, I exercise, but still I definitely manage to get adequate sleep. This year in 2020, I don't have that slide in here, but in 2020, my sleep time is 7 hours, 20 minutes, 7 hours, 20 minutes. That's a sleep time. So bedtime is almost 8 hours and 15, 8 hours and 20 minutes because we are about an hour awake during the night. So my bed total time in bed is 8 to 8.5 hours. So I take sleep very seriously. I take sleep very seriously. I highly recommend all of you to take sleep as serious as exercise, as serious as healthy eating. So sleep well. Next pillar is the important pillar, which is also one of the 6 pillars, is stress management. Chronic stress will lead to increased mortality, heart disease, obesity, Alzheimer's disease, cancer, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, lack of sleep issues. It also breaks the relationship and also increase your risk of substance abuse. So chronic stress definitely is not good for you. Chronic stress can also lead to increased cortisol and norepinephrine levels, which can cause inflammation, insulin resistance, and increase in visceral fat. So chronic stress definitely is not good for you. So what can you do to lower the chronic stress? I have a whole 2-hour lecture next Saturday on happiness and how to lower stress in your life. Next Saturday, we'll be doing it live, similar way with slides. So tune in for that. But let's talk briefly today how to combat chronic stress. You can meditate 20 minutes once or twice a day. Be a stoic. Stoic is a philosophy which is essentially to live a happy, healthy life. I did an hour and I think hour and a half seminar on how to be stoic. It's already in our YouTube channel, how to be stoic. Watch that video, very important video. It gives you the 53 most important way to be a stoic. I've read about stoicism over the last 6 months. I've read about 15 or 20 books. I've probably watched at least 200 or 300 hours of videos on stoicism. And I've summarized all things I've learned about stoicism in an hour and a half. So please watch that video on YouTube. It's on our channel, How Healthy Living with Dr. Aajay Shah. And that stoic video will definitely benefit you. Learn to observe your breath and do pranayam, essentially observing your breath through your nose as you sit quietly. Definitely do exercise and yoga, definitely sleep better. Also having a purpose in life, because people who live with a purpose, not only they are happier, the stress is low, they're healthier, they live long. So have a purpose in life. Know why you're waking up in the morning. Also, important thing is love your work, because we spend more hours at work than we even spend at home throughout the 24 hours. So love your work. And if you don't love your work, make things which will make you love your work. And if you absolutely still cannot love your work, change the work. It's not worth to die being employed. So if you don't like your work, get a new skill and find a work which you love, because you're going to be working 30, 40, 50 years in your life. You cannot keep hating every day what you do and still continue that. So get a new skill, get a new job which you love. Take care of your finances, because financial stress is a very important, very common stress in a lot of Americans. So take care of your finances. Save every month, save 10% of your income, have 3 or 4 months of reserve so you don't have financial stress. Maintain important relationship. Obviously in relationship, it's give and take. If you give a lot of compassion, a lot of love in a relationship, you receive a similar thing back. You have to do kind things to people. You have to, do physical things for them. You have to do them, certain services for them. Then you receive those things back. So important thing is, if you want to lower chronic stress, maintain your relationship with give and take mentality. Definitely, the Stoic philosophy recommends negative visualization, where you actually imagine if any adverse thing happening in your life, and you try to plan out how would you overcome that adversity. Playing the scenario in your mind called negative visualization. That concept is in my lecture on Stoic philosophy. Important to do negative visualization. Definitely do daily journaling. Daily journaling is very important concept. I have recorded another video about 30-minute long on our YouTube channel, how to do daily journaling in the most effective, most efficient way. Please watch that video. Definitely make a gratitude journal. It takes only 3 minutes to write your gratitude journal every day. And we have enough proof now that people who write gratitude journal are happier on the long term. Matter of fact, there's enough proof that people who write gratitude journal has a low chance of depression. So please write your gratitude journal. Definitely limit your TV time. There's a lot of garbage, a lot of nonsense, a lot of negative news on TV. Avoid TV as much as possible. Definitely no more than half an hour a day. Monitor your own self-negative talk, which a lot of us have habit of putting ourselves down. A lot of pessimistic attitude that should be avoided as much as possible. Avoid all the substance abuse, including alcohol. Owning a pet, owning a dog or a cat also lowers your stress. Definitely limit your social media. I sincerely believe that social media, including Facebook, can increase your stress if you don't use in a smart way. I go on Facebook almost like every hour, but I go in a very smart way. I don't go there to feel envy, to feel jealous. I go there to learn. I go there to see how my friends, my family members are doing. I go there to post my motivational. I go there to teach my followers. I go there to do Facebook Live. I use actually Facebook to my advantage. So I want all of you to use Facebook, all social media to your advantage. Don't be a slave of social media. Be a master of social media. Learn to forgive. People who know how to forgive people, how to forgive the certain bad things happening in their life, not only they're healthier, they're happier, they have less chance of depression, they live long. Also, concept of amor fati, that those words came from Latin. It says essentially, love whatever happens in your life. Whatever happens in your life happens for a reason. Just learn to live it. Increasing your omega-3, we talked about nutrition pillar with walnuts, with flax seeds, with chia seeds. If you can take fish oil, with fish oil, also will lower your chronic stress. Again, omega-3. Increase your vitamin D intake. Definitely take vitamin D. Vitamin D and going in the sunlight has shown some benefit to lower chances of depression, lower chances of chronic stress. Definitely manage gap between a stimulus and response free. Many of us are very reactive. Something happens, somebody says something, any kind of event happens, we are very reactive. Try to understand that you need to manage the gap, how you react from a stimulus. So be proactive, think before you speak, think before you act. That will also lower many chronic stress. Also live in moment. Being present or mindfulness is also very important. Do not sweat small stuff. And they say everything is a small stuff. So if some event happens in your life, in 5, 10, 20 years, you probably will not even remember that event, will not have any impact on your life. So try not to sweat small stuff. Also, very important concept, we'll talk next Saturday, is that enjoying your experiences, not your possessions. It's been proven that possessions like owning a car, owning a house, owning a nice clothes, owning a shoes, actually lead to hedonic adaptation, which we will cover next Saturday. And those things can lead to eventually no more further happiness, even though you own the same thing. While experiences like vacation, going on a vacation, going to a library, going for a dinner, healthy dinner with friends, those experiences actually are much more happiness producing than owning any material thing. Be proactive with your physical and mental health, because health is wealth. Health is the reason people are happy. So that way, if you maintain a good physical and mental health, you have a very high chance of preventing chronic stress. Chronic stress many times happens because of we have many chronic disease. Get outside, spend some time in nature and sunlight, read motivational books. Just start to feel like Any struggles, like we talked earlier in the beginning of the lecture, any struggles are actually seeds for new growth, seeds for new learning. So don't take struggles as a depressing thing. Next is the next pillar, is pillar 5, substance abuse. Prevalence of substance abuse mostly starts with alcohol. Alcohol is very common, the most abused substance in America. 70% of Americans have at least one drink in last month. 6.6% Americans have more than 5 drinks per day in last month. So, a lot of people are alcoholic. Let's see what alcohol does to you. Alcohol will increase your appetite. Not only you will eat more, but you will eat a lot of unhealthy food. Nobody eats broccoli when they have a beer. Most people eat chips. Most people eat unhealthy, pretzels, oily pretzels, and other things when they have a drinks and when they have alcohol. Alcohol will lead to poor sleep. Alcohol obviously can cause accidents. Alcohol will lower your productivity. Alcohol can cause fatty liver and cirrhosis. Alcohol will lead to high blood pressure. Alcohol also can cause atrial fibrillation, which is the irregular beats from the upper part of the heart, which can cause stroke. Alcohol also can cause stomach bleeding. Obviously, alcohol, if you drink too much, alcohol can lead to death. Alcohol can cause cancer. Many women don't realize a glass of wine every day has almost 25% higher chance of breast cancer. So alcohol can cause cancer, including breast cancer. Alcohol obviously can cause tremors. Alcohol can also lead to obviously homicide. Alcohol lowers your sexual inhibitions, and many unplanned, unwarranted pregnancies can happen. Alcohol can lead to pancreatitis. Alcohol can cause infertility. Alcohol can cause diarrhea. Alcohol can cause hallucinations. Alcohol also can cause bone loss, osteoporosis. It can also change how your back part of the brain works and can lead to poor balance and coordination. Alcohol can lower immunity. Alcohol can cause erectile dysfunction. Alcohol will lead to inattention. Alcohol actually can cause increased visceral fat. Alcohol also can cause bone marrow suppression, including lowering of your red blood cell count, your platelets. So again, alcohol definitely can cause many things. People who are trying to gain muscle mass, like athletes and bodybuilders, if they drink regularly, they will not gain the muscle mass as efficiently. Alcohol also can cause cardiomyopathy, which is a weakness of the heart muscle. And I see periodically patients with very weak heart, with heart failure, and that's because they drink 6 drinks per night. Alcohol also can cause depression. So if you have a problem with alcohol, recognize that you have a problem, recognize why you drink, seek help, consider joining a group like Alcohol Anonymous, read more about alcohol and their side effects, and eventually stop alcohol, not have more than 1 drink once or twice a week. The next is other type of substance abuse. Prescription drug abuse is about 1.7 million Americans have prescription drug abuse, including opiates and many other prescription drugs. Other street substances are heroin, marijuana, cocaine, and hallucinogens. Obviously, the other second most substance abuse is the nicotine, is the smoking. 17% of Americans still smoke. Fortunately, that number has come down. When I came to America 35 years ago, almost 30% people smoke. That number has gradually coming down. Obviously, smoking needs to be 0%. Hopefully, we'll get there one day. Smoking can cause lung cancer, COPD, heart disease, strokes, many other things. So smoking needs to be stopped. And the last pillar is pillar of relationship. This pillar is as important as all other pillars, like we talked about it, that all these pillars work in concert together. They increase the benefits of each other exponentially. So we need to do all of it. People with strong relationship will live long and live healthier. It increases your happiness. It increases your feelings of belonging. And relationship obviously can include spouse or a partner, your parents, your children, your friends, your family, your fellow worshippers at church or temple or mosque or a synagogue, going to your community clubs, even your co-workers are within your relationship. So maintaining good relationship, like I said earlier, give and take mentality. You give more of love, more of compassion, more of kindness, more of physical help to them, you will receive more of it in back. So again, in relationship, it's very important we have give and take mentality. You cannot just take, and expect that people will keep giving. Eventually, you will break the relation. So play your role in relationship as important as other people's role. Some of the extra strategies, sitting in an infrared sauna or steam sauna has also some benefits. Taking a cold bath, cold shower, also I call it cold plunge, which is at some of the health club where you go in a very cold temperature. Having a deep tissue massage once a week, once a month is very important. Definitely try to avoid having news no more than 10 minutes per day. I get my news from a app now. I don't watch TV for the news because a lot of the TV news are very biased news, and I try to get as unbiased news on a phone app as possible. Learn to appreciate music, learn to play music if you can, and definitely have a hobby. Some of the extra strategies include maintaining a good oral care, which includes flossing your teeth, brushing off your teeth after each meal, and using alcohol-free mouthwash. Definitely, like we talked about, it, have a financial stability, uh, have a measurable health goal, and set date to achieve it. We all are growing in this health journey, in this happy journey, and we should have a goal. Like, for example, my goal is to lose 15, 20 pounds over the next 6 months, and I'm trying every day to achieve that goal. So have a health goal. Have a strong support from the family and friends, because many times having family and friends to achieve any goals is very important. Like I said, live in the present, have mindfulness, and definitely no multitasking. Again, enjoy your experiences, not the possessions. Uh, So again, this is very important. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. I have other slides, which I think I'll break it down to the next lecture. We'll start next time for the remaining slides. So I will end this Facebook Live. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This video eventually will be on YouTube, so you can watch on YouTube again and again. This video will be on our Facebook timeline also, so you can scroll down and watch it. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be doing a Facebook Live on happiness next Saturday. In my opinion, this will be one of the most important lecture I've ever given, because more I realize that to stay healthy, you need to be happy. And happiness has been a major issue for a lot of people. And I'm going to try my best. I watched at least 100 hours, 200 hours of videos on happiness. I've read about 15 or 20 books. I'll be starting to make slides on happiness lecture, hopefully from Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll be ready next Saturday. Please stay tuned in. That will be one of my best lecture. Also, go to our YouTube channel, watch the video on stoicism, watch video on how to start journaling every day, watch different videos on our YouTube channel. Spread this message, invite your friends to like our Facebook page. Please comment on all the lectures, all our postings. Please, obviously, if you like certain things, we do like it, because those gives us the motivation. Those gives me an idea what our followers, what my friends are liking. How should I be changing my approach to make more people healthier and happier? So again, thank you for joining today. I'm going to end here. Let's see if I can end with a proper way. So I'm going to end here. Have a good afternoon. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Wear your gloves. Avoid going to public places as much as possible unless absolutely necessary. And have a great afternoon. And stay safe. Thank you.